Obviously, I think you look at the Buffalo Bills, right? You think we talked about it earlier, kind of a team that's built to beat them or compete with them, and also the Green Bay Packers. You know, you look at that team and you say, okay, if they come out of the NFC, they have a chance. You know, the New Orleans Saints obviously has the defense that could give them trouble, but you never really know what you're getting with Drew Brees down the stretch right now with the injuries. But it's kind of funny when you talked about the Kansas City Chiefs eking out a win against the Atlanta Falcons. I thought about something I saw on social media yesterday where Dwayne Wade was playing his son in basketball. And his son ended up getting real mad because at the end, D Wade just kept posting him up. And so I look at it like the game was close at first because, you know, you're playing your son and it's heated. And when your son's playing the daddy, he plays really, really hard, right? Like he really wants to beat him. He's fouling them and he's doing all this. That's what happens when people play the Kansas City Chiefs. The Atlanta Falcons, right? You know, we had a bad season. We've lost our coach. This is a game where we can redeem ourselves. This is a game where we can show the world that we are worth something. If I'm Matt Ryan, I can prove to you that I deserve to be the quarterback of this franchise going forward. Raheem Morris, I deserve an opportunity, if not to coach this team, another team. Like, that's what you get when you play the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs kind of come out like the dad, right? They kind of come out like D Wade. You know, they shoot a couple of jumpers. They lay off of you a little bit, let you get some open shots. And then when the game gets tight, that's when Patrick Mahomes come out with his dad bod, right? He come out with his dad bod and he posts you up and he shoot layups and he does all the things that you can't stop. That's kind of what we see with this team. They get a little bored and then they find ways to win. Now, I don't suggest that people start with the I'm going to turn it on when I want to method. But we've seen Kansas City do it. When Kansas City needs to score in the 30s against the Carolina Panthers, they do it. When you need to score 30 in New Orleans, you find a way to do that. When you got to eke out a win and you need a play against the Denver Broncos, Tyrann Mathieu makes the interception. We've seen this team over and over again do whatever it takes to win football games. And if it wasn't for Dee Ford lining up offsides in the AFC Championship, we probably see them in 2 Super Bowls in a row. And so, yes, it's the Buffalo Bills. Yes, it's the Green Bay Packers. But in the end, it's the dang Kansas City Chiefs. If the Kansas City Chiefs are right, if the Kansas City Chiefs play their best ball, nobody in the world can beat them.
Yeah, I think you're right. So the Bills are playing better defense. They can score. It seems like they can score with anybody with the receivers that they have and the way that Josh Allen's been playing recently. I think the Ravens, another team that seems to be coming on at the right time. But you said it right, and we talked about earlier how the Packers it does seem like they can score with them, and they have the secondary to be able to give them a little bit of trouble or at least match up with all those phenomenal weapons. But you said it right. The Chiefs are the Chiefs' biggest threat. Like, if they don't play well, that's a problem. But you're right. You think about hitting the switch, and we don't like teams like that. We talked about earlier in the show with Kendrick Perkins how the Clippers thought last year they could just hit the switch. Like, you can't be that. But it seems like they are. And it's not like they're choosing to hit the switch, but when's the last time you've seen them not show up for a big game? The one loss they had this year was against Vegas. I almost said Oakland.
The Raiders.
I caught myself. Was against Vegas.
Yeah, I said it
and
before.
it was like they didn't necessarily, you can understand that they didn't come into that game intense. They had to play the Ravens. They showed up. Wally mopped them. All the games in the playoff last year, second half, showed up and embarrassed those teams. And then you brought it up. When's the last time Patrick Mahomes has not showed up in a big moment? It's crazy because the answer is never. You ain't never seen them not show up in a big moment.
Right.
You go back to that. You go back to that playoff game that they lost. Patrick Mahomes was cold-blooded
in the
second half.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
And we was like, oh, second half. Bill Belichick gonna come out with some adjustments. I don't care. It don't matter nothing about that. Bill Belichick's adjustment. Patrick Mahomes was cold and they lost because the guy jumped offside. So Patrick Mahomes is a guy who we've never seen not show up in those big moments. So if he does turn into a guy that doesn't show up, then maybe they lose. Otherwise, it's their Super Bowl.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.